All right. So we'll just give it a minute here. See who joins us. Excuse me. All right, good evening to everyone joining us live, and hello to anyone watching this recording later on. I'm Tess from the Food Shed Alliance. We're a nonprofit based in northwestern New Jersey focused on strengthening sustainable farming, increasing access to local healthy food, and protecting the environment for all members of our communities. We're hosting this webinar and sessions like this one thanks to a New Jersey specialty crop block grant to promote specialty crop farmers in our region and to help everyone learn some more ways to eat more local specialty crops. So in this session, we'll be exploring the concept of eating the rainbow and how incorporating a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables into your meals can significantly boost your health and well-being. So we're going to learn about all of the nutritional benefits of different colors on our plate, what a balanced plate looks like, and how to make simple, wholesome choices that support overall wellness. So welcome to our wonderful presenters tonight, Jane Harrington, Director of SNAP Ed at Zufall Health. Jane is focused on nutrition education and food access in Hunterdon, Morris, Somerset, Sussex, and Warren counties. She also has a private practice called Zufall Health and Nutrition based out of Long Valley, New Jersey. Jane wears many, many hats and is currently the co-public policy coordinator for New Jersey Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. And she also sits on the Nutrition Advisory Board for Montclair State University and the steering committee for Connecting Dover. We're also welcoming with us tonight Lauren Sprick, nutrition educator for New Jersey SNAP Ed at Zufall Health as well. Lauren has been cooking alongside of people of all ages in the community since she graduated with her bachelor's degree in applied nutrition and a minor in psychology from Montclair State University. Lauren enjoys getting to know her students, getting dirty in the kitchen, and making food that's practical, delicious, and fun. And we also have to welcome Chris, our tech support and many other things extraordinaire, who's helping with these the ladies tonight to put on a wonderful show for us. So I'm very excited to welcome you all here. And without further ado, please take it away. Thank you.
For the introduction. We are very happy to be here tonight and share a little bit more about healthy eating, eating a balanced plate, and how eating healthy on a rainbow fits into that. And I do have Lauren here with me, our Sussex County nutrition educator, and thank you for introducing Chris. He is here with us too for our regional nutrition educator and really helping us behind the scenes in the chat, and also with some of our tech to have a nice showing for you of our food demo, and then also go through the presentation. So we'll start off first with going through a little bit more of an interactive presentation, how to build that healthy plate, and some simple tips to eat a healthy rainbow-filled plate. And then Lauren can tell you a little bit about, we'll switch over to a food demo. Sounds great. Can't wait to start. And then, so we're just going to get started. So we'll pull up the slides and share those for you. Just want to make sure that everybody's able to see them. And then just our introductory page is eating healthy, the benefits of eating the rainbow, and then really our overview. So how to build that healthy plate, that's really what we're going to start. It's all about balance. And then reviewing the importance of all the different colors, why we're hitting this, our interactive activity. Just throughout, we'll have some questions. So as you're going through or as you're watching the replay, trying to make sure that you're taking a guess at some of these questions before the answer just pops up onto the screen. And then tips to include more of these colors. So sometimes it can feel like a daunting task, but just some easy, quick ways. And then we're excited to move into some of what Lauren's working on. We'll have some time for question answers if we do get any from our live attendees. And if people have questions as we move through, please feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll keep an eye on that as well. So as we're getting started, if you want to share something in the chat that you want to learn from the presentation, that would be great. If there's a certain colored food that you're like, I'm really struggling getting this color into my diet, definitely put that into the chat, and we want to make sure to hit any questions that you have, because this is really an overview and we want to make it helpful. It's not going to be specific advice for a specific disease condition, but more for preventative and wellness. And just to get started, want to show my plate. So this is our balance. Let me just check one thing. And then Chris, if we can move on to, I don't know if there's a delay, but on to slide 4. Balance plate.
Yep.
Perfect, thank you. And then, so we will have, so this is my plate, where half your plate is fruits and veggies, and we're looking at grains and protein to hit the other half, and then dairy to complement on the side. Some of your meals you might want to make your whole plate veggie, depending on what your specific health goals are, especially maybe lunch or dinner, if it's hard for you to get some of those vegetables in the morning with breakfast. Trying to figure out how to put them into your snacks too, which is something we'll talk about a little later on. And then here's just a picture of one's like the model, and then one's just what a balanced plate could look like, having a side salad with some chicken and rice soup. You could also throw more veggies into that soup to make it even more colorful, which is a great option. And then next we have a question. So I just want to give everybody a little time, especially before we share the answer. How many cups of vegetables should you have a day? I know we always hear you should eat your fruits and veggies, how important they are, but really what does that mean? How many should you try to get into your diet each day? So give everybody a second to put their answers in the chat. I'll see if we got any coming in. Okay, so we've got one person saying 6. That's always a good thing. 6 would be awesome. If you can hit 6 cups of fruits and vegetables a day, that's going to hit a lot of your benefits. The minimum you would want to hit is 2.5 cups a day. So that might be a cup of, like half a cup with breakfast, and you can throw that into a smoothie or eggs. It might be another half of a cup to a cup with lunch, and then half a cup with snack, and then another cup like at dinner. But if you can add more and you can get that up to 6 cups a day and have more of those veggies, it's really good to, then you'll get more half your plate as veggies, and you can have fruit as a snack. Now, how about fruit? Sometimes fruit gets a bad rap because it is a little bit sweeter, but it's the natural sugar, and it still has a lot of fiber, and it's packed full of phytonutrients and a lot of like berries or tea color that have these phytonutrients that we need. So we definitely want to include them in our daily diet, but how many cups would you say of fruit a day? If the minimum for veggies was 2. And let's see if we are getting any eyes in the chat. Let's see. 1.5. That we got one person saying 1.5. Let's see. We are doing this. So 1.5 is very close. And it is 2 cups of fruit. That would be your minimum or ballpark around for the day. And if you're watching your blood sugar or just your overall, like staying around that 2 cups of fruits and veggies will still give you the nutrients that you need, the fiber, and help you with that balance. And would that count as juice, Jane? So juice will have some of the nutrients, but you're not going to get the fiber with your juice. So you really want these to be your whole fruits, and same with veggies. Because smoothies will count because you still have the fiber, you still have the whole piece of fruit. A juice sometimes will even have some sugar added to it, so that's something you really want to watch out for. Great question. Thank you. Okay. Now, this is something that we'll talk about often because along with the how many cups of fruits and veggies, how often you should eat them, we also just hear how important they are all the time. And sometimes it just becomes like, okay, I know I need to eat my fruits and vegetables, but why? And that sometimes isn't talked about quite as often, even though we may have a general idea. And that's really where Eating the Rainbow comes in, because it really explains what is important in all the different colored fruits and vegetables and produce that's out there, and really plant-based foods. So here are just some general reasons to eat fruits and veggies before we delve off into the different colors. So they're very rich in fiber, vitamins, and minerals. They're low in fat. You can definitely put a lot of them on your plate, and it helps you fill up without really having too many, overdoing it on the calories. They help prevent certain diseases, and they're a delicious addition to any meal or snack, especially when you have great recipes like we'll go through on our food demo, to really make them fun and exciting. It doesn't have to be a boring thing to add to your plate.
And I've also heard that you should add like a fatty dressing to fruits and vegetables because it helps the vitamins. Is that true?
So some of your vitamins that are in vegetables are fat soluble, so that is true. And then if you add a little bit of fat, that'll help the absorption of the, especially like your vitamin K that's in the veggies. And so it can be a great thing to add just a little bit of dressing. You don't have to overdo it. A little will go a long way with helping those soluble vitamins. The same thing is with vitamin D. So that's not going to be in too many of your veggies, but that is something that a lot of people can be low on vitamin D, and you want to make sure you're coupling that with fat, because that's a fat soluble vitamin. That's where that piece comes in. Okay, so I'm going to move into some of the foods that and by color. So we'll start and we'll just go through the rainbow of how they're important, why we should eat them, what are some of the health benefits along with the food. So you have your red veggies. Do you have a favorite red veggie one? Or fruit? We have a couple up on here. We have our strawberries, cherries, tomatoes, apples.
I really like pomegranates.
Pomegranates are great. Yeah, we don't have pomegranates on the slide, but that's another really great one.
Yeah.
And then your healthy heart, like that is really great about your red foods, really thinking that heart health, healthy blood vessels. It's also great for cell rejuvenation, for your cancer prevention, and then also for skin protection. So there's a lot of different health benefits adding in these red fruits and veggies. And it doesn't necessarily matter if there's one that you like more than the other. It's great to add that variety. Some things are great to try to eat raw, and then some are a little bit better to have cooked. So your tomatoes, for example, even though you hear that cooking can sometimes deplete nutrients, the lycopene in your tomatoes, that will actually boost up as you're cooking. So that's one of the differences with tomatoes. So it can be, but they're still great to eat raw. It just can enhance the nutrient absorption in that one particular case. And then we'll move on to your yellow and orange veggies and fruits. So we have some listed up on here, but there's a lot more that can fall into this category. We have oranges, we have lemons, carrots, even like corn will fit in here as we're getting into like our Jersey fresh corn season a little later. It doesn't feel like it now in May, but it'll be here before we know it. And then we have the great parts about yellow and orange is eye protection, cancer prevention, really is great to help with your joints, your heart still, just like similar to your red fruits and veggies. And then it can help you if you're really looking to lower your cholesterol. Adding in these fruits and veggies, along with all the fiber that's in the fruits and veggies, those can help with your heart health and lowering your cholesterol, but it all works together. So that's why you want to try to eat these whole foods as much as possible and not as often have like just the juices or have a supplement or a vitamin, even though they are out there and marketed. And then green is one of the most, especially like a deep green can be one of the most beneficial to your health, and it can really be hard to add in, and it tends to be the trickiest because if you're not able to get a lot of leafy greens, sometimes it's hard to figure out how to get those leafy greens in. Kale is always talked about. Laura and I were talking about it in preparation for this, and how there's certain things that you can do to make the kale a little bit more appealing. So that's some things we'll definitely go over later. And then, but it could be anything. It could be arugula, it could be spinach. We have broccoli on here. Those are going to be more your broccoli is going to be more your cruciferous veggie, and cauliflower would actually fit in that, even though it's white. And your cruciferous veggies are really great to help you, especially with more detoxification, helping your liver. And then you have your avocados, cucumbers, like all offer different, cucumbers can be more hydrating, but as overall your green fruits and veggies will help with really protecting your stomach, helping your bones. We always think calcium and vitamin D for our bones, but vitamin K can be very important too, and work all these vitamins working together, part of a balanced diet, really helping your immune system, protecting your eyes, and then can also help with cancer prevention.
Is there such thing as eating too much spinach? Because I've heard that there is like oxalate or something, and then when you have too much of that, it reduces your iron absorption. And sometimes this is like TikTok, not like social media knowledge, and I'm curious if that's like
No,
real
it's a
thing.
good question because there is a lot out there that you want to watch, and spinach is very high in iron, but it does have oxalates that can impede the absorption of iron. But overall, usually people are including more spinach. It's a good thing in terms of their iron, but you don't want to overdo it. So it's all about that balance. While these are so important to add into your diet, you still want to balance it with your protein, your healthy fats, your grains, and even though all these veggies and like the nutrients in the whole food work together, sometimes they can compete absorption of each other. So it is a good point to bring up.
Thank you. Wasn't sure if that was a real thing.
Yeah, they do compete, but it's not like, I would still recommend eating spinach to try to get the iron, but the oxalates do compete for that. And then we can go on to
Another question.
I got another question.
Yeah, does it make a difference if you cook it?
If you cook it, it's a good question. I think it does help with reducing the oxalate a little bit to add it into cooking, but you still want to try to get a mix of your fresh spinach and your cooked spinach. I wouldn't say to just cook all your spinach just to try to avoid this, because it still can be great to throw spinach into a salad with healthy fat, like a strawberry salad or something, now that we're getting into like fresh strawberries are coming out.
Those are the best kinds of salads, strawberry spinach.
Yeah.
No balsamic.
Yeah,
Fresh
exactly.
mozzarella.
So yeah, I wouldn't want you to feel like you should only be having spinach if it's cooked. Any other questions that I'm missing in the chat? Oh, I see fresh picked strawberries, exactly. Call out in the chat. All right, so let's move on to, we're moving through the rainbow, so let's look at our blue and purple. Now, blue and purple are really interesting because there's a lot of different ones that will fall into this, since we're kind of combining both color groups because they have very similar benefits. We'll hear about blueberries to help with our brain health because that can really help improve memory. We'll look at it for also cell rejuvenation. This can also help with your heart, with healthy blood vessels, and then also urinary tract prevention with your whole urinary system. It can be very beneficial for. So one thing, we have like blueberries, we have blackberries, we have eggplant. There's a lot of other blue and purple out there too, and if you're struggling to get some of these foods in, while these ones on here are packed with nutrients and are great to include, there are some other ones that you may not think of, like there's black rice that has some of this color in it. Have you ever had that?
It's actually really funny because we're using toasted sesame seeds,
Yeah.
and I saw black ones and almost bought them, and
Yeah.
I didn't. So I wonder if that had that in it.
Yeah, all the different colors.
But
are
yes,
great.
I've had
Yeah,
black rice.
you've had black
and
rice, yeah.
mhm.
And it's different. Like I know some people it's kind of hit or miss whether they like the brown rice, but black rice tends to have, it's a different texture, a little, I don't even know if it's more similar to the white rice, but if you're like, don't stay away from it if you don't like the brown rice. It can still be a great thing to add in and just trying new foods. And then any other blue or purple that are a little different? Like we got plums, but I'm gonna go.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, but I did want to ask, like, if there, would you say that like you could be attracted to a certain kind of color based on maybe like certain, like your body type, that like is like a mineral that you need.
Yeah,
Like-
sometimes our bodies know when we're craving something, like our bodies will present in different ways if we need more magnesium. I don't know if we'll go necessarily towards a certain color, but sometimes as we move into more of the white and tan, sometimes we may go to more of those foods as like a comfort when we're going towards that. And so that can give them kind of a bad rap, but we are gonna go and move into why they're so important. But our bodies are, if we listen to them, do give us a lot of clues as to which ones we should be looking towards more, but that doesn't, we still need to try to get all of them in. Let's just check out Zoom real quick.
I have a question. So I know different varieties that are different colors, like I'm thinking of like purple asparagus or
Yes,
purple
those are great
kale.
examples.
Do those have like co-benefits between the colors, or do they lean more one way or the other?
So they can have a little bit of, they'll have similar benefits and then they'll have their benefits that more align them with the color. Kind of like how I'd said with broccoli and cauliflower, like even though cauliflower is white, it still fits more into the broccoli group. But if you have like a purple asparagus, you're gonna get some of these purple food benefits with those deep, rich colors in there. Because that's the other thing, the richer the color of the food, the more of these phytonutrients will be in there. So that's why like your deep leafy greens are gonna have a little bit more nutrients, actually a lot more nutrients than just like a romaine lettuce. While it's great to include them all, it's just the makeup of the produce.
That's so cool. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. And there's like, you have your green and your purple green beans, or just the string beans. There's a lot of different varieties. Carrots, you have purple carrots. So yeah, those are
yellow and orange.
Yeah, so those are like cool ways to add more color to your plate while you're still keeping the veggie the same. Yeah, any other questions before we move on to our white, tan, brown group, which sometimes can get the bad rap, as I had started to say before, like we can turn to some of those foods for more comfort. Sometimes we might look down at our plate and it'll look more displayed and tan, and we won't have it rich, full of colors, whether it's just what's available that day, we're in a rush, or not making it happen. But there are still health benefits to your white, tan, and brown group, so you still want them to have a place on your plate. And one of our goals is to try to have like, let's say try it meals to have 3 different colors, and add a snack, have 2, especially if we're counting, since we're gonna count white, we wanna try to stay with that 3, and white can be one of them. If you're not counting white, maybe just having 2 colors could be okay, but trying to really see multi-colors on your plate. And then you're still getting some of the benefits from your white and brown, because they're still heart healthy, especially like your whole grains. We have garlic on here, which is great. You have gut health that your grains can help you with, the fiber that it adds, or just your white foods, and then can help with lowering your cholesterol, you're protecting your stomach, and then your immune system. So there's a lot of great benefits along these white foods that we still want to include them. So we don't want to just get scared and avoid them completely as we're trying to make this rainbow plate.
Is the reason why you said the white and tans is because they're more like starchy and like carbohydrate-y? Because I see you have potato there. Is that?
Yeah, so potatoes on there, but even like your grains would count on here. We want to try to go more towards whole grains, but they would be part of this group as well. So that's why just want to watch which ones you have. Like garlic is probably going to just more be a condiment, giving you some flavor, adding like similar with the mushrooms, but we want to watch out with like the quantity of the tomatoes that we're having, because they are more of your starchy veg that will act more as the grain on your plate. So while we want it there, we want to make sure we also have lots of color as well of the other colors.
Thank you. That's interesting. Learn something new.
Let's see. All right. So now I just want to move into, now that we went through why it's important to add all of these different colors to your plate, really think about how am I going to do that? Because if you're going and you're thinking about my breakfast this morning, I was in a rush. I just grabbed like a piece of toast or I just had some cereal. Like how can I start to add some color to this, but not completely overhaul my whole plan? And that's why we're going to go through just some simple tips on how to add more to it. And you'll see like these, as I go to the next slide, it's the same images, but we have one of the tips is to really try to make sure there's color at every meal, and starting with that breakfast. It's important that we get protein in the morning and then get some sort of colors with our breakfast to really start the day right. And you can do this through different ways. You could have a smoothie where you have berries to add like a red and a purple, and you could do both of those in there. You could add spinach to add something green and your banana for yellow there. And then you can also put some Greek yogurt, or if you're do a protein powder, you could add something in there for protein. Just want to watch like that the yogurt is not too high in sugar. You want to look at the other ingredients that come with this. And then a smoothie can be a great option. If you do eggs in the morning, you don't have to change it up too much, but throw a bunch of veggies into that and have a little scramble. You can make an omelet, and that can be a way. Or if you do more like a cereal oatmeal base, throw some berries in, throw strawberries, blueberries, and that could be a great way to get started. You could add a little bit more of some different hands of browns, adding some ground flaxseed in there, and just to kind of switch it up. The more plant-based foods we have, and the more variety of plant-based foods we have, the more phytonutrients. So kicking it off at every meal and starting in the morning, but on the next slide, not just at meals, but also at your snacks. So how can we make some of those snacks, if you're just grabbing like some chips or a pretzel, to balance it out so we add some color? Some simple ways could be carrots. You could add, and it doesn't mean you can't have some of the other, if you did want to have pretzels, like you could have carrots and pretzels and some hummus and just have a smaller portion of each of them, and then you balance it out. You have a lot of color. It'll fill you up and carry you till your last meal. Same kind of thing with the cucumbers. You can add that in there. If you wanted to do apples, you could do apple slices with peanut butter instead of just like crackers and peanut butter. And these are just like similar prep. But if you cut some of these foods up ahead of time, whether it's like the day before or that morning, then when you're going for the snack, it's just as easy to grab these foods as opposed to just grabbing what's in the pantry. And you can make it in like, there's all these different types of bento boxes now that you can put all the veggies in that you cut up, and then you can just go and grab them that way. Have you seen those, Lauren?
Yes, I have one for my son.
Yeah, so like for kids, they're great. But right. Even like anybody, just so like put those out, and then you can kind of mix and match your snack that way with getting a lot of different nutrients in.
Yeah, it kind of forces you to like have healthier choices because it's like smaller little, you know, it's easier to like have a more diverse meal.
Exactly. And then stop.
Could you explain what phytonutrients are?
Sure. So phytonutrients are they're really the small micronutrients that make up the produce that you're eating, and they're related to what's giving it its color. And that's what gives you all the different health benefits that I was going through with the different colors. So it's more your vitamins and your minerals that are in the produce.
Thank you.
No problem. Good question. And then let's see. Any other questions that I'm running through in the chat? Cool. So the next slide is really just tips to make that plate more rainbow. So one option that can be easy is just putting together a rainbow salad, and it could be anything that's in your fridge that you're able to chop up. You could throw some corn in there, you could throw the bell peppers, the avocado, and instead of just having like spinach or like your leafy greens and your chicken, what other things can we add? And that can also add a lot of flavor, but it adds a lot of these nutrients that our body needs. So you can use the leafy greens. So we have green in here, we have red, yellow, we have enough, like 2 different types of greens. There's even black beans in here, so we get like a purple color going on, and then some protein to really make this balance. So a salad can be an easy way to just throw things that you have available and make that happen. And it's just a little variation to what we'll have as our food demo in just a few minutes. And then feel comfortable experimenting with eating the different colorful foods. Don't be afraid to try some new things and throw them together. And as you're roasting up veggies or grilling veggies or just kind of chopping them up to put in a salad, throw in a new one, try it out, because then it's going to have similar flavors to what you like. If you're using a similar salad dressing, if you're using a similar seasoning, then these new ones will blend up and really fit in nicely. And then one other recipe suggestion is more of like a stir fry to add in more colorful fruits and veggies, which it all goes along the same line. So you can start with a grain that could be your white, tan, brown. So this one's quinoa, but you could use noodle, you could use rice base, but using a smaller amount and adding more of those colorful fruits and veggies to add in that balance. Then you can top it off with a protein of your choice, whether it's more vegetarian, and you have some beans, or you could do fish and chicken and really try to add that and make it a full meal. And then the fifth tip is just even drinking the rainbow. So we're talking mainly about eating the rainbow today, but you can also add more colors to your drinks. And we're not talking about like more your artificially colored things, which sometimes when I start off with Eat the Rainbow with kids, they'll ask me if we're having a whole presentation about Skittles, which is not the direction that we went in today. But we can also drink the rainbow as well. And this is really about, it could be smoothies like we talked about, or infusing water. So your water has either like berries or watermelon or cucumber or mint, and getting some of those flavors in there. And then you can also eat those fruits and veggies in the water as well. But you do get some of those nutrients coming out in the water, even though if you don't eat the fruit, you're not going to get that fiber. It still is a nice way just to start seeing some more colors on your plate, especially if you feel like you're struggling getting those in. And it could be a green smoothie, it could be a beet smoothie, that's another like red food that we didn't quite talk about, but some people put those in smoothies. I think you've made a beet smoothie for
I have, and it was very well recommended. It was beets, cherries, lemon, ginger. I think that's it, but it was in like a mock of a popular drink that I can't think of the name of it, but it was very well received.
Sounds really good. And then just our tip 6 to wrap it up, trying to look at your plate and your day as a whole. It doesn't have to be complicated. If it's feeling like it's complicated, just start small. Start with one meal a week that you want to target, and then keep building it up from there and try to add a new one in each week. If you're like, you know what, Monday's on the way out to work because it's Monday before work, it's really hard to get that balanced meal, and that's really where you're finding it's the hardest. If there's other places, maybe start there and then work your way back to Monday, or if that's the only one you're really, then you can work up to really work on that Monday and like the breakfast. But I would say breakfast is a great place to start, because then you really set the scene for the rest of your day. And then the more colors that you eat, the more health benefits you have, and the more varieties, then the better it is for your health as well. Even within like your red foods, it's still great to eat a variety of red foods just to have that different flavor profile, switch it up, and then you don't necessarily get as bored with it and then maybe stop eating it. It could be as simple as that. Sometimes we're like, oh, I really love broccoli, but you can overdo it on the broccoli, you're like, I need a break. So trying to find a few of each different color that you can rotate through that you really like. And then I think we can get started with the rainbow food demo, and let's just double check if we have any other questions coming in. Cool. So we can get started with our rainbow sesame noodles.
Okay. Okay, so I chose this recipe. It incorporates a lot of rainbow colors. I chose everything gluten-free. But you definitely don't have to do that at home. So we can get started. I'm going to make the sauce first. just because, actually, I don't think I'm going to. So I turned on my water, I've got it heating up, I've got salted water. I've already massaged this kale here, so typically when you massage the kale, you add a little bit of acid and oil. I cut it really fine. Some people prefer kale that way, so I did that to start with. Got some shredded carrots. It was 1 head of kale, 2 whole carrots, 1 red pepper, some red cabbage, which is actually purple in our purple food. And one thing I did, which I really like, is we have herb scissors here. So I cut them. So these are, it's 5 blades. So you're technically not really supposed to cut onto the cutting board because you lose a lot of the essence when you cut. So I have these here and we need 1/2 cup. So I'm just going to cut over top of here. And this is a really good way to get the flavor. And I'm also using the stems just because I don't really like to waste all of it, and it does kind of give another little bit of added crunch.
Lauren, can you use those with all different types of herbs?
Yeah, any herbs you have. You know, some people they think it's not real and they don't really like them, but I learned from a Greek woman who insisted you use scissors to chop, I think it was parsley. Forget what she was making, but
Yeah. It's a nice different way that you just chop them all.
yeah, I really think it adds like a lot of something special. So we've got a lot of colors in here already. A good little mix. And for this recipe, it calls for raw tofu, which I did not do. So I have some edamame that I will put on the side. That takes a few minutes. I'm just gonna pop that in the microwave. My head of garlic. I actually was recently just cooking with my Boise Italian uncle who taught me not to treat the garlic badly and not smash it, although I typically will do that. And this recipe only calls for 1 clove of garlic, so I'm a little suspicious about it. So I did add a little bit of chili garlic. I brought some chili garlic sauce that'll add a little more flavor for the sauce when we make it. So, and for those of you who are familiar with ginger, typically ginger, you will take a spoon and then peel the skin off instead of like using an actual vegetable peeler. And this one is only 1 teaspoon of ginger. And it does say to refrigerate it first, which you can absolutely do. You'll probably get better flavor if you do that. And if you taste it and you decide you want a little more garlic or you want more ginger, more salt, always feel free to make it your own. This is just a guide, not a rule. I would say that's about maybe a little more, just about a teaspoon. You can measure, but I like ginger. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
Now I'll finish making the rest of the sauce. We've got 1 tablespoon of tamari. Again, just a guide. 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. And this one, I believe, is it's toasted, but it's not flavored. You may decide you prefer a different one. Some rice vinegar with 2 tablespoons. And 1 teaspoon of agave. You can use agave. If you have honey, you can use it. If you prefer maple syrup, whichever sweetener you prefer. And then it didn't call for any extra salt or any spice. So I'm gonna just add a little bit of chili garlic.
And Lauren, some people may be nervous about adding the sugar, as we're talking a little bit about added sugar that comes up in our classes. But if you're buying one that is already pre-made and not made with your own sauce, it's going to be much higher in sugar, and this just gives it a little sweetness that goes a long way.
Absolutely. Yeah, and agave is a great choice, I think, because it's which you can speak more to about why that's a good choice. But absolutely, if you read the ingredients labels, and it'll have a lot more processed items too.
Yeah.
You know, there's no thickeners here.
Yeah, if we're going more for like a honey, an agave, a pure maple syrup, then that's going to be more natural than our refined sugar. So those added choices that we'll see in the stores.
Thank you, that's a great point. And some people might be suspicious and others might think it needs a little more. So it didn't call for salt, but sometimes if you ever are cooking and something, the food you make doesn't taste right, it probably needs to be salted.
Another thing where a little goes a long way just to pull out the flavors that's there.
Yeah, very much. And a lot of times this actually says it needs to be chilled. It could very well taste completely different after it's chilled. And much better, and wouldn't even need the added salt, but because we are eating it fast, I want to make sure it is
We want to make sure we have it all done and ready, and
yes, just a sprinkle. So our water is here. It is bubbling, not quite yet, but the good thing about the rice noodles is it only takes 3 minutes, so it's a really quick choice for a weeknight dinner. I'm just going to taste this because my Italian family won't let me serve something that's not good. That's good. A little something, but yeah. We'll see. I might just do a tiny bit more of this, just a little bit more agave, just.
And that's the nice thing about adding it, is you can keep taste testing it, and you don't have to overdo it. You put in just enough to what you need for the recipe.
Yeah. And this, I mean, I would say, well, I guess it has cilantro there, but, and you can always keep adding different things. No, that's good. Mirin could always be good too. No, it's either like, is it missing salt, fat, acid, or sweet? So I think here it would be the fat, because we haven't really added that, but. So it's just about boiling. I'm gonna go ahead and add the noodles. I did get a vermicelli, so just a really thin noodle. We can start mixing this up because it'll start to add some more flavor to our vegetables. Hopefully bring out a little bit of the flavors in here, let it soak a little bit more. Might just salt this a tiny bit. There at my space. My dish is in the sink. And then we just got like another 2 minutes for the meal. Thank you, Jane. For our edamame, this is for our protein. Nice pretty garnish for the lack of tofu. Put on here. Of course, I did salt the water.
And as we're substituting the edamame, and edamame is your soybean that tofu is made from. So that's why we did the little swap to really get that whole. Tofu is so great and can be part of the balanced diet, but we just switched it up a little.
Yes. I did also get organic because I know.
Yes.
We have our sesame seeds. This is 2 tablespoons. Gonna do a little eyeball here. Which still have a little bit of fat, so hopefully we can get a little bit of that from there. Some to garnish with peanuts, just to kind of go along with our Asian theme. And just adding a little more protein instead of tofu.
What if we're allergic? What are some substitutes?
Any seed. You could do pumpkin seeds. The edamame is good. You could do beans. Like you could do like roast chickpeas. I would that would be a good addition. Any kind of bean or seed. You could completely leave it off if you want. You could do. This might be.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna like a quinoa. Could mix it in or like.
And it depends too if it's a peanut and tree nut allergy, but if tree nuts are okay, you could do like a cashew in here as well. If it, to pick between like the peanuts or the cashews, but sometimes if you're cooking for a group, it might just be better to steer clear of both the peanuts and tree nuts.
Yes, so I think both of you are not allergic, so.
We're good for our class today, but if you do have somebody with allergies, then we'll list off some great options.
I'm gonna toss these on the side so I can use this. Just drain my pasta water. And this is like really easy, the rice noodles are really easy to overcook them. And then you get like a mush ball. I don't know if any of you have ever overcooked rice.
Yes, it's very much over the finding.
Yes, and just grab my other rag here. Walk this over. Thank you. Okay. Here. Right. Awesome. Okay. I'm just gonna, can you run a little bit of cold water over there, please? So this could be, yeah, this is a great cold salad. Today we're having it cold, so Jane is just rinsing the noodles to get them to stop cooking. So they'll be less mushy and also to make this a true cold salad. Now I'm gonna use my tongs to just kind of try to break them up a little bit. Well, hopefully everyone will try this recipe. You know, make it the first time as is, and then, you know, from there on, you can always modify it if you need to add something additional for your flavor preferences. Oops. Give it a good stir. This has already been cooking for a while. And the dressing. And this is a really great mix of all the foods that we were talking about. I think we have every color in here. I know yellow counts as orange, so we did get that. Would anyone like to try? You can serve it up. And it didn't really mix that well, but I will just toss the noodles on the bottom and then the salad on top. You can always add another additional garnish if you'd like. Anything else to make it look a little more pretty, a little additional cilantro. Just for presentation. And that's it, there you have it. Hopefully you guys give it a try. I feel like we should try it now to see how it comes out. Yeah, here. Would you like to try, Jane?
We'll do a little taste test. And so just before, let's see, let me make sure everybody can see it. We got all our different colors, all our fruits and veggies. We got some green, we got kale. So I know Lauren started to say a little bit about the kale. Since this is more of a cold food and she didn't cut it up, or we didn't cook it, since she cut it up really small and then you can massage it with a little bit of oil, that makes it not as rough, and why some people might not necessarily like it. But we have, you gonna try some with me, Lauren?
I will, yes.
All right, let's give it a try. It looks delicious.
Thank you.
No, this is great. Thank you. Very
Thank
healthy,
you.
Lauren.
Good.
Yeah, no, a great light flavor. We got all our different nutrients. We have healthy fats in there, to complement all of our different variety of fruits and veggies. So thank you for making that. Did any other questions come up as we were going through the recipe? Any questions on the recipe or the information?
This is just so cool. I had no idea about the cutting the herbs with scissors. That's such an interesting point. And I was curious also, I know you said earlier if like cooking tomatoes helps to kind of bring out some more nutrients. I was curious if the massaging of the kale helps that too, or if that is more of like a flavor type of preference or anything else that might be more like releasing more nutrients as you cook it.
It's more done for taste preference from my understanding, but I think it can help with some of like the breakdown and how your body can break it down depending on how, like, our digestion starts with chewing. So depending on how many, sometimes people don't necessarily chew like 20 times their food. So if it's massaged down a little bit, that might make it a little easier and start that digestion process. But that's just, and there's probably some other key points around digestion, but I'm not sure 100% where those would lie in the process.
That's cool.
It's good. Well,
Thank you.
am I on this camera now? Sorry. I thought we were over here. So no, that would be the only thing to kind of look out with the kale. But any other questions?
Wait,
I
I
got some
imagine
people ready to try it.
Awesome.
for real.
Exciting. And no, definitely a great one to try. And it's very, as you could see, Lauren did do a little bit of the chopping ahead of time, but otherwise this is like, and even the chopping that she did do wasn't a huge time commitment. And you can get, depends on your preference. Like we chopped everything really fine, but if you just want to do more of like a rough chop and throw it together with some veggies, that works too. So there's lots of different options, and that's a nice part about a recipe is you can make it your own. You can see what works. Like we had the allergy question about the peanuts. There's always some substitutions that you can make and just like stay creative about and ready to experiment with this to add some new food in.
And to your point, Jane, you can buy the pre-chopped kale, it does have the stems in it. Carrots, you can get pre-chopped. The red cabbage, I did get pre-chopped, so you can be as low work as you want with this.
And when you're prepping these, you can also prep them for different recipes. So if you're chopping up carrots for this, you can also chop up the carrots for your snack to have with hummus. So that way you can combine some of this prep and you're not always kind of chopping up different things. If we're chopping up kale for this, can we also maybe make some kale chips with some that's left over that we're not putting this in? So just trying to, as we're meal prepping and we're prepping some of these veggies out, try to think, okay, is there at least one snack and one meal I could put this into, or two meals that I could put this into, so that way as you're working through and you're putting in the effort, you really get to, but it's not like you're just eating it the same way. You can cook it in two different varieties.
And I know you said about like, cause we are taking off the stems, but like those can be saved for a smoothie, you know, so even though they are, you know, not called for in this recipe, still making sure to reuse all of it.
That's awesome. And in the same vein too, would this be a good meal to like meal prep with? Like, does it keep well in the refrigerator?
I would make the salad ahead of time. Don't put the dressing on it. Just keep the dressing on the side. And then I mean, the noodles take 3 minutes. You know, like we said, you could make I wouldn't make the rice noodles ahead of time because they would get mushy. But if you wanted to use an alternate,
You could do quinoa and that would last, like you would make the whole thing be stuck with quinoa and then that would just last in the fridge and meal prep. You would just want to add the dressing on later on.
Yeah.
Nice. I feel like I'm getting healthier just looking at it. It looks so good.
Well, thank you. Then mission accomplished, I guess.
Yeah, for real. I can't wait to try it. I wrote it all down. So we can I mean, I can certainly share my notes, but if Lauren and Jane, if you had a recipe written out already that you wanted to share with anybody who registers, or we could put it with the recording online as well, if you're interested.
Yeah, absolutely. It's from we can, you know, drop it and we can email it to you to include it with the recording, but it's
in the slides, so we can put it in the chat and then we can also email it. So as you post the video up, then we can have the link to the recipe on there as well. So people can follow it to the T, use it as a guide, and you could always swap in some different colors in here too. Like we had red bell peppers, but you could put orange, green peppers in. You could do you could also make
like black beans. If you did the green peppers, you could maybe do black beans.
Yeah.
To kind of do like a more like, you know, Tex-Mex kind of style.
Yeah, that's the other nice part about leaving the dressing off. One, everything will stay crisp and it will last longer for meal prep, but you can also switch up the flavor. So if you're a little bit sick of the more stir fry kind of flavor and the sesame ginger, then you could have that one night and then the next night add more of like how Lauren was saying, you could just doctor it up a little bit and make a Tex-Mex flavor, or just add like a little bit more garlic and some Italian seasoning. Like you keep it all different ways.
But I would say in second thought about I I would just, the kale might get pretty wilty-ish if it's like really, even if it's just chopped sometimes, if it's pre-washed. So sometimes just watch with pre-washing certain vegetables that you want to meal prep with, because it will make them go bad faster. So maybe factor in like 3 days instead of like a full like meal prep for the week.
If it's just the leafy greens, if you put one piece of paper towel in with the bag or whatever container you're putting it in, that can help lengthen the time because it'll absorb some of that moisture. But like 3 days prepping out for the fresh veggies is a good rule of thumb.
Awesome, thank you. I imagine if you're getting fresh veggies from your local farmers, they might last a little longer too.
Yes, the fresh veggies from your local farmer will last definitely longer because they won't, they've traveled so far, so you're gonna get them fresher. And then once you cut up the vegetables though, it's just part of that process that will speed it up. But it could give you, definitely will give you probably another day or so, but it's just part of like the washing and the chopping and that part of the prep that speeds it along.
For sure.
Or they might be too fresh. I feel like the ones I've gotten in the past, they've been like a little, I guess I typically don't buy organic, so they last way too long. So, and that's definitely not the case with the delicious farm fresh produce, so.
Yeah. That's a good point too.
Well, I hope everyone gets to try it. Thank you for.
And if you watch the video, is there a way for people to leave comments on the videos where you post them to get feedback?
Yeah, yep, it'll be posted on our YouTube and our website. So if you both are okay with it, we can add your contact information, or if it's already on the PowerPoint.
It's already on the PowerPoint, our contact info,
Okay.
so we have that right on there. And then, yeah, if it's up on YouTube, feel free to comment. If you're able to make it, let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear it. And we appreciate everybody following us along through the information, and then through this food demo. And hopefully everybody gets to try it.
Thank you for stopping by.
Thank you so much for hosting and doing this wonderful cooking show. I'm so excited to try. I'm a little worried mine's not going to be as good as Lauren's, but I'm going to try anyway, and we'll let you all know.
I might actually add a lot more of extra things in the sauce. I don't know if it was a wow, but it was a good. This was the first time I've made this, so proof that you always have to keep experimenting to find your style. But yes, I hope you enjoy it, Tess. Can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much, everyone. All right, thanks again to Jane and Lauren and Chris for the incredible cooking show and presentation on eating the rainbow. Like we were saying, the recording will be available up on our YouTube page and our website shortly. And if anybody has any follow-up questions or comments, you're more than welcome to reach out to any of us. So thanks again, everyone. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone. Go on.
Bye-bye.